Hey. All right. Young John. Young John, Young John. Young John, Young John. Young John, the John. Young John, the Johnny John. Young John. That was my shit, bro. Young Skux and Little Sam of the Megan's Fatty Saga. Young Skux and Little Sam of the Megan's Fatty Saga. Man said to be declawed, then he got some free slaw. Bitch on that bitch. Hey, bitch on that bitch. Bitch on that. Feel me and Skox, we solved racism. We found the cure to racism. Because I want you to take music was the cure to racism.
On immigration. I want your take on immigration. What do you feel about illegal immigration? Border hopping, border patrol. What do you take on that? Do you believe? I mean, obviously, I know like somewhat what you.
It shouldn't be a mystery, my beliefs,
obviously. But I want to like hear it from you first.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in this country illegally, you should be deported.
I just be vibing, bro. I don't want to look at it. We don't care about the numbers. They're like, YouTube's like, this guy's back. This guy's back.
Deported.
Okay.
And we should also restrict the amount of legal immigrants coming into this country as well.
Okay.
But the illegal problem is a much bigger problem right now. It's a full-out invasion. We have 15,000 people a day marching into our country. We don't know who they are. Terrorist watch lists. They're killing people every day. Laken Riley, another 16-year-old in Texas, was just murdered over the weekend by an illegal.
So you believe that everyone, no matter what you've done, deserves to get deported even if they're illegal? What if they just do nothing and contribute to society?
Well,
you can contribute to society.
Well, they didn't do. Hold on. They didn't do nothing. They broke into our home.
Okay, but like,
So if you break into somebody's home, you should be able to get kicked out of the home. So they know what they did. They trespassed. They domiciled themselves illegally. If that continues, go back to your country of origin and go be a dreamer in Nicaragua.
But a lot of times it's because of U.S.'s imperialistic past is what caused many of these nations to. Oh, can you hear me?
U.S. imperialism in the past?
Yeah, a lot of these countries have been devastated by.
Okay, so there's over 120 different countries that are coming across the border. Uzbekistan, you know, over 155,000 people from China have come across the border this year?
Okay.
From China. That's not like U.S. imperialism in Honduras. So they should be kicked out and deported. And it doesn't matter, U.S. imperial, I'm going to roll my eyes at the whole thing. You still broke the law. You came into our country illegally. We have laws and customs. You came here. You knew you were breaking the law. And you should be sent back to your country of origin. Any decent country would do that.
So you're taking a subset of Chinese citizens or Chinese people from China and saying, grouping them with everyone else. And because
well, no, I think Hondurans, Mexicans, Nicaraguans, El Salvadorians, Panamanians, Venezuelans, Chileans, they should all go home.
Oh, really?
If they're here illegally, yes.
But like I said before, these people have been devastated by, in the past, these countries are poor.
I don't care. Like, go fix your own country. How did we screw up El Salvador? No, tell me, how did we screw up El Salvador? Can anyone tell me? Or is that just a talking our own country? How did we screw up El Salvador? No, tell me, how did we screw up El Salvador? Can anyone tell me? Or is that just a talking point?
What about for the kids?
Go back to your country of origin.
So you would tell me to go back to my country right now?
Well, are you born here or not?
I'm born here.
Well, I think we should get rid of birthright citizenship, but technically we have it, so you should stay. But yes.
But I'm contributing to society. I'm working.
Okay, good for you. I mean, again, I think we should get rid of birthright citizenship.
Oh,
but,
so I'm done.
But
I'm done
again, I'm not like king, so we don't get rid. But birthright citizenship is a misreading of the birthright clause in the U.S. Constitution. But we have it, so you're going to stay. Don't worry. Okay.
But you want me gone.
But
you want me gone?
Well, no, I don't want you. I want the law to be enforced. Again, I think you're a nice person, but I don't allow my feelings to all of a sudden come in to the administration of justice. I'm sorry, what?
You were literally talking about how, we didn't do anything. Get out of here. It's literally what you just said. I'm dumbing it down, obviously.
Well, okay, but did your parents come here illegally?
Yeah.
Okay, they're criminals, and they should go back to the country of origin.
But they contribute to society.
I don't.
They pick up.
I'm
they
sure
work
a lot
every
of
day.
criminals. Okay, they might rob a store and pay their taxes.
They get your food.
Okay, but
They fast food.
let me ask you a
They
question.
drive your kids to school.
When they came,
Is that not contributing?
what's their country of origin?
My mom's from Mexico. My dad's from Syria.
From Syria.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ooh,
got it.
don't talk about that.
Did he come here illegally too?
Not him. Just my mom.
Okay,
I
got
only
it.
live with my mom.
So that's fair. So when she came here, did she know she was breaking the law?
She was like, I think, 17. So yeah.
Did she know?
She probably know.
Okay. Therefore, you should go back to your country of origin. If you knew that you were invading somebody's home, I don't have sympathy for you. You're an invader. You broke into our country.
But
I don't care if you're contributing. I don't care if you're this wonderful dreamer in this great story. Either you have the law or you don't. And if your position is to repeal that law, then make that case. If you think it should be illegal to be able to waltz into somebody's country, then fine. There should be no exceptions to the administration of border law. You know who agrees? Mexico. If I go into Mexico without papers, they'll deport me back to America. Try to land in Cabo without your passport.
They'll let you in. I've been
No, they won't.
times.
No, they won't.
Really? I just walked through.
No, I landed in Cabo 6 months ago with somebody without a passport. They didn't let him into the country. There are stricter borders to go into Mexico.
That is a lie. I don't know what border you've been through, but to go into Mexico is literally you just walk in. You drive in.
You drive to Cabo.
It's literally fast. You know,
do you know where
America?
Cabo is? On the southern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. How do you drive?
You're talking about all of Mexico. You can't make the argument and talk about the southern border when you're talking about a part of Mexico. If you say that argument,
if I illegally domiciled myself in Mexico City and I announced I was illegal, what would the Mexican government do?
Who's announcing they're illegal?
You just announced your mom is here illegally.
Yeah, because you asked.
No, you declared yourself. I'm a dreamer. I was born here. So I implied your mom was here illegally, right? Yeah. And you might not like to hear it, but your mom's a criminal. Okay. And every day she stayed here is no different than squatting. You're squatting in America. You don't get squatters' rights in this country just because you have a nice story and we feel sorry for you. Again, your mom can.
How do you spell important? Yeah.
Contributes a lot, right? Then she can contribute back in Mexico. She can go build a beautiful business and get a job, or
Why
go
can't
to.
she do that here?
She already is, but the point is that she wasn't welcome here. She wasn't invited. She cut in line. She took the place of other legal immigrants from across the world that have to wait decades to come into here. She wanted it more, so she cut in line under this mass sympathy campaign, and we're supposed to feel sorry for her? Like, go back to Monterey.
Okay.
So, do you think we should get rid of the law that says you can't come into a country illegally? Should we just get rid of that law?
My honest opinion?
Yeah.
I would say no.
No, we shouldn't get rid of it.
No.
Okay, I agree. So then when should we enforce it?
What?
When should we enforce it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, and you know the reason, and I respect the intellectual honesty, because if you said we should enforce it all the time, then you know it would apply to your mom. But look, you're a winner of all this. You get to be in the greatest country in the history of the world, right?
I respect it. I love being American.
Yes, and so, great, okay? And we have birthright citizenship. You have a U.S. passport, I assume, right? You cannot have a sustainable country if you do not have control of who comes into your country with no sort of standards, no sort of process. It's a big mystery. Secondly, on top of that, we have it on the books. You shall not trespass across the U.S. southern border. It is literally a felony. They want to make it a misdemeanor. So if we repeal that law, that's a position of some people. No border policy whatsoever.
Okay. No, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for your time.
God bless. Next question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erica. I'm from Long Island, New York.
I love the name Erica.
Thank you. I was homeless a year ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you were homeless.
I'm not anymore, so it
praise
turns
God.
around.
Good for you.
God bless.
And there's hope for everybody.
Yeah, I went through a lot of really gnarly things being homeless. If I had enough time to tell you everything, I would. I never, ever want children for myself. I have severe mental health issues, and I suffer from depression, attempted suicides. So I have some dark history. And I know for a fact that I was not meant to put on this earth to have children. I do understand where you stand with abortion. I do think it should be a choice, but up to a certain time. Do you think that we should just ban it altogether?
So I'm 100% pro-life. Would you agree that if it's not your DNA, it's not your choice?
Yes.
Because if you have a baby in you, it's that baby's vagina, not your vagina.
I
so
never
it should
want
be,
one.
I'm just saying, if you were theoretically,
I know.
okay? Going back to what you said, though, I think you're somewhat selling yourself short. Because look
Okay.
how long you've grown in a year. You went from homeless to here.
I know.
Imagine how much you could grow to one day be a mother. Now, you might say, you don't know me, blah, blah, blah.
No, that's fine.
But don't live under the bigotry of low expectations.
I'm not going to.
So if the story you tell yourself is that, hey, I can't ever be a mom, then that's who you're going to be.
I'm a cat mom.
It's okay. That's fair. Hey, you're living a good life. You were
I
homeless
am.
a year ago. You're not anymore, right? So
Yes.
praise God. The story you tell yourself is who you become. What you aim at is what you hit. Just think about
Much
that.
love and respect to you.
But-
You're just like me. We're blunt. We can smoke the truth, you know? We're
yeah,
so blunt. We can smoke the truth.
I don't smoke.
That's
And
okay.
I don't recommend people smoking.
Oh,
but
come on.
Yeah. God bless you. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I work as an after-school teacher for 4th to 5th graders. One of my questions is there any advice that I could give to the youth to help? Oh, sorry. Do you have any advice to give to the youth because of our corrupted society that we have now, of this social norm of the West especially? How can I help them and give them the whys, especially as a religious man?
I love that. Is that basic economics?
Yes.
Can I see that? That is a great book. You are a great teacher. Everyone should read this. By Thomas Sowell, by the way. Good for you, man. That's awesome. You want me to sign it? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, all right. That's very kind. That's right.
So, great question. So let's, you hit the most important element of education. So it should be about developing wisdom, not just knowledge. So wisdom is the understanding of things that do not change. It's the most important thing you could teach a young person. We're filled with knowledge-based institutions, and we are lacking wisdom-based institutions. Wisdom is understanding the deeper permanent topics that will be true 200 years from now, and they were true 200 years prior. For example, are human beings naturally good or not so good? What is good? What is evil, right? What is mercy? What is compassion? What is justice? What is truth? This is much more important for people to grapple with than, well, I could tell you who the 5 members of the California legislature are. That's fine, that's knowledge, but we are lacking in wisdom in the West. It is a crisis of wisdom. And here's the cool thing about wisdom. Anybody can access it at any time. It does not require a college degree. It doesn't require a special credential. Anybody can be wise. It just so happens the most common way people get wisdom is through what? Suffering. That's why old people are so wise, because they've suffered a lot. And through suffering, you end up getting a lot of wisdom. Good times do not make you wise. Sucky times do.
To have anywhere between 10 to 15,000 people coming across the border
is an invasion. I don't care what your politics are. You could be here, you could be on the super far left. It doesn't matter. It's unsustainable. And this is not a racial thing, but the bad guys actually look at it as a racial thing. Now, in a very perverse way, they might end up being wrong, but it's still wrong what they're doing because they think, and it's not my belief system of this, but just look at what the Castro brothers have said repeatedly. They said that as Texas becomes more Hispanic and less white, they thought that Texas would become more left-wing. To have anywhere between 10 to 15,000 people coming across the it doesn't require legislature. That's fine. That's not the. This is much more important for people to grapple with than, well, I could tell you who the, you know, the
It's more fun to be an asshole. Way more fun. At least that proves to me that I'm not one. Especially that little one. There's something really wrong with her. You know? Something really wrong with her. But you're like 10 years old talking like that, you know? I don't know how, I don't know. It's none of my business, bro. Okay.
5 members of the California legislature. That's fine, that's knowledge, but we are lacking in wisdom in the West. It is a crisis of wisdom. And here's the cool thing about wisdom. Anybody can access it at any time. It does not require a college degree. It doesn't require a special credential. Anybody can be wise. It just so happens the most common way people get wisdom is through what? Suffering. That's why old people are so wise, because they've suffered a lot. And through suffering, you end up getting a lot of wisdom. Good times do not make you wise. Sucky times do.
To have anywhere between 10 to 15,000 people coming across the border is an invasion. I don't care what your politics are. You could be here, you could be on the super far left. It doesn't matter. It's unsustainable. And this is not a racial thing.
Nice. Sucky times do.
To have anywhere between 10 to 15,000 people coming across the border is an invasion. I don't care what your politics are. You could be here, you could be on the super far left. It doesn't matter. It's unsustainable. And this is not a racial thing, but the bad guys actually look at it as a racial thing. Now, in a very perverse way, they might end up being wrong, But it's still wrong what they're doing because they think, and it's not my belief system of this, but just look at what the Castro brothers have said repeatedly. They said that as Texas becomes more Hispanic and less white, they thought that Texas would become more left-wing. Well, it's not that simple, actually, because it turns out the Hispanic community is not a monolith, and that there's a lot of Hispanic conservatives out there that don't believe that men can give birth, and they want a secure border, and they want police, and they want a rule of law. So it's not that simple. But what it does do, outside of the politics, is it does destabilize a country. And that's the bigger point, is that you cannot have an unregulated flow of millions of people. We're not doing background checks. We're not doing DNA testing. We have no idea where they're from. And act or even believe that somehow a stable country can continue. And for those of you that either came to this country legally or your parents did, what is happening on the southern border is an insult to all of you that waited in line. It is an insult for all of you that had to go through the proper protocol and process. That basically what it is why'd you follow the law? And what they're saying for all of you that had to go through the proper country legally or your parents did, what is happening on the southern border is an insult to all of you that waited in line. It is an insult. We're not doing DNA testing. We have no idea where they're from. And act or even believe that somehow a stable country can continue. And for those of you that either came to this country legally or your parents did, what is happening on the southern border is an insult to all of you that waited in line. It is an insult for all of you that had to go through the proper protocol and process. That basically what it is why'd you follow the law? And what they're saying basically is you don't have to follow the law anymore. And I've been patient, and I actually have seen more and more fight out of your governor recently. I wish it would have happened earlier, and I want to see that next step taken. And I think his administration is getting closer and closer to that, which is it is now time for Texas to start to deport the foreigners that have come here to this state and return them to their country of origin. It is time to now do closer and closer to that, which is it is now time for Texas to start to deport the foreigners that have come here to this state and return them to their country of origin. It is time to now do that. And largely because the federal government has left us no choice. And it is a very simple moral question. If the federal government is tasked with the safety and the well-being and the administration of the rule of law, and they have year over year told you they are not going to do that, Texas, which was once its own country, which can therefore declare an invasion clause easier than any other state in the nation, does not just have a right, but a duty to take this into its own hands and to fix this problem. And I think Greg Abbott, to his credit, has been feeling the pressure and has been doing some stuff. I mean, you got the barriers, you got the razor wire, you got balloons on the, whatever those big things are in the big objects in the Rio Grande Valley. That's fine. You got the National Guard. It's hard for me to paint this picture. If you haven't seen the video, I encourage you to look at it, where Texas National Guard really steamrolled by hundreds of people last week as if, like, no, this is our country. We're just going to come right in. And, some people say, well, the Texas National Guard should have resisted. But the Texas National Guard, in an ideal, should have resisted. But think about it. They would have gotten probably arrested by the federal government for, violent confrontation of migrants. And that's another important point, which is there are some people that are coming that can fit the quote-unquote migrant mold. But a vast majority of these people are military-age, fighting-age males that are 20, 21, and 22 years old from 120 different countries. We know that thousands of people have been intercepted on the southern border from the terror watch list, and we have no idea where they're going on the interior of the United States. And I hate to say, but this feels awfully intentional. It feels as if that they want this to happen. Now, why? We can have a robust discussion about it, but I don't get from the current ruling regime that they love the country like you do, that they love the country the way that those of you that serve this nation do. In fact, I feel as if they want to turn it into something different, that they want to try to overwhelm the system. Before some of you yell up and say, you're a conspiracy theorist, Well, you guys should study an academic paper that is called the Cloward-Piven Strategy. It was written in the 1970s by two academics, Cloward and Piven. They were communists, self-described Marxists and communists. And they said, hey, the way that we, communists, are going to take over America is 3 steps, 3 very basic things. We need to try to make sure America borrows so much money that the currency is worthless and the national debt becomes unsustainable. We need to try to build an administrative state or a deep state bureaucracy that swallows the private sector and have D.C. be the most important part of the country and uncontrolled mass migration into America to destabilize the fabric. Now, we wouldn't know any one of those 3 things, of course. We are borrowing $1 trillion every 100 days in this country. For those of you that want to own a home, for those of you that want to have a future, it is literally getting stolen from you by these unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Again, this is not a political statement. In 2020, when there was a different president, the average income to be able to afford a home in this country was $59,000 a year, according to Zillow.com. It is now $106,000 a year to be able to comfortably own a home, to be able to afford a home. Bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Again, this is not a political statement. In 2020, when there was a different president, the average income to be able to afford a home in this country was $59,000 a year, according to Zillow.com. It is now $106,000 a year to be able to comfortably own a home in this country. Now, it might be when there was a different president, the average income to be able to afford a home in this country was $59,000 a year, according to Zillow.com. It is now $106,000 a year to be able to comfortably own a home in this country. Now, it might be less here in Lubbock, Texas. I don't know. I mean, but I bet property has gone up everywhere. I bet it's gone up here too. And but it's probably a little bit easier here. But your incomes are probably not as high as they are in Dallas. So it all kind of evens out. And by the way, that's what they want. They don't want you to own homes. They want you to be permanent renters for the rest of your life because you're easier to control.
I wanted to clarify what I screamed earlier. I screamed the word yes. I was just really excited. But my parents immigrated here with basically no money from Vietnam.
Okay, because you said your parents were super rich from Vietnam. You screwed up my moment, man.
I know, I'm so sorry. I was just really excited.
So just to be clear, they came with almost no money from Vietnam.
Yeah, and now we
honestly, God bless your parents. They're great patriots. I'm glad you're here. So
we own our own private business, and I'm a living example of why white privilege does not exist. So let me get to my point. I'm a 17-year-old high school student.
Wow.
I drove an hour over here just to see you. I'm a member of the Turning Point USA chapter at my high school, and we actually hope to get Isabel Brown there soon. So my question is whenever I try to open up controversial topics at my school, no one ever really wants to talk about it because they just don't want to. And my question is it because politics just aren't for everyone or not? And should there be a age to when people should be able to talk about and have these conversations about politics?
All ages should talk about it. Only we shouldn't lower the voting age, though.
Yeah.
That's a very bad idea. But we should not lower the voting age. But I just want to applaud you, man, for your leadership at Turning Point. And I'd say, look, just look around, though. Look how promising this. People are standing here for hours just to hear about political, philosophical debates. That's a good thing, regardless of where you approach these issues. In high school, honestly, enjoy the fact that not everyone wants to talk about politics all the time, because it's actually kind of refreshing to hear that there's still a remnant of that. But
yes and no, I would say. And I just wanted to ask, this is a bit of an extreme example, but what age should the conversation be opened up, though, through politics? Like, should 8th graders be talking or debating about abortion?
Yeah, I think that probably 12 years old, let me think, 12 would be 5th or 6th grade. I think 5th or 6th grade is where politics should start to be discussed. Yeah.
Okay, and then
not too deeply, like a surface level. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my final question is for people who are still learning and growing their minds, like me, I'm 17. What would your advice to be for people who just want to debate more? And
so debate less and read more. So you got to read at least 100 books a year. Okay? 100 books a year. If you aren't reading 100 books a year, you're not serious about your intellectual journey. You might say that's too many. You can listen to them too, right? Spend less money on booze, alcohol, drugs, and nightclubs, and more money on audiobooks.
Okay.
Your life will be better. Okay. Trust me. I try to be a living example of that. I try to read 100 to 120 books a year. I'm always listening to stuff, always reading stuff. I don't remember it all, but I remember a fair amount of it, and it just creates you into a happier, deeper, wiser person. And the more you dedicate yourself to reading, debating will become easier.
Okay.
I just was curious about your stance on like college as a scam.
Yeah.
And I just was curious, why you say that.
Let me prove it to you. How many of you have to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you shouldn't have to take? Well, there you go. I rest my case.
Yeah, no.
How many of you guys know at least 3 people that dropped out that went to this college previously and earlier? Okay. The national graduation rate is 41%. Most people that go to college do not graduate. You guys actually go to a school that has a lot of applicability in the job market outside of some of the majors that are offered, but aeronautical engineering, computer engineering, which, go work for Elon. So this school is actually a little bit more of the exception than it is the rule, because I think humanities are largely one of the great wastes of time and kind of societal poisons and cancers that are happening in our society. Yeah, I'm happy to continue.
So what do you recommend like an 18-year-old dude or a girl to do after high school?
Turn up the volume. Can we try? I apologize. Sorry. Yeah. We're going to try. And I will come out there and say hi to you guys in a second. So, and we're going to go say hi to all of our friends over there. What do I recommend? It all depends on what you want to do. That's the worst thing you can do is enter into a 4-year agreement where you have to borrow a bunch of money, try to find your way, go take a bunch of classes that have very little relevancy, and next thing you know, you end up with a college degree, and you end up getting a job that doesn't require a college degree. Here's a fact. Half of people that graduate what you want to do. That's the most... and we're going to go say hi to all of our friends over there. What do I recommend? It all depends on what you want to do. That's the worst thing you can do is enter into a 4-year agreement where you have to borrow a bunch of money, try to find your way, go take a bunch of classes that have very little relevancy. What do I recommend? It all depends on what you want to do. That's the worst thing you can do is enter into a 4-year agreement where you have to borrow a bunch of money, try to find your way, go take a bunch of classes that have very little relevancy, and next thing you know, you end up with a college degree, and you end up getting a job that doesn't require a college degree. Here's a fact. Half of people that graduate college end up getting a job that does not require a college degree 10 years after they graduate. That is the best argument I have. It goes to show the diploma doesn't actually have...
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at engineering students. You're looking at,
Well, enginering's different. There's
finance students.
I qualified
and
that.
Students like that. For example, I went to community college for 2 years, and a lot of other people go to community college. You get free community college for 2 years, then you could transfer over, and then 2 years at a college like Cal Poly or a university, and the top 5 paying jobs out of college are accountants, engineers, teachers.
Try to get closer to the mic so people can hear you.
Teachers, engineers, stuff like that. And it's just, and then the guys,
Great.
the people that are wearing the shirts are actually in college. So I'm just curious,
But they know better than I do that it's a scam then.
I mean, it's just someone like me, I think it just comes down to hard work ethic,
No,
Like, I don't understand, like, not everyone's built for the trades. Not everyone's built to go into construction or, work as a painter or whatever they're doing after college.
Or a mechanic.
Yeah, exactly, and I just, trades. Not everyone's built to go into construction or, work as a painter or whatever they're doing after college.
Or a mechanic.
Yeah, exactly, and I just, a large majority of people going into college out of high school, I think it's a good choice for kids because they have 4 years to develop as a human being versus just jumping into the workforce
that's
and
a good
making what 30, 40 grand, and you can't live off that right now.
I mean, are those folks over there developing as human beings?
I mean, I'm not talking about them.
But hold on.
I'm talking about,
That's what college produces, though. Angry, bitter, resentful activists that hate the country.
Yeah.
That's not developing. That's hardening and honestly creating, a mobilization army for the radical left. That's what we've seen.
You got your major courses where you're taking, I'm a real estate finance major, so I'm taking classes for real estate finance. I have internships in real estate finance.
It's great.
I'm not going into that field after college, but I'm saying you take classes at college to get a job after college, and there's most of the universities you get over 75 grand a year out of college. And if you do the route of 2 years at community college and transfer into a university, you're able to pay off that debt, which is around 20K, 30K. For a school like this, you can go to state school, and then you're off to the races.
If you graduate, 41% don't, so because they shouldn't have gone in the first place.
Then what do they do? What do you do after?
They never should have gone. I mean, yeah, we have 11 million open trade jobs in this country.
Yeah,
here's the thing. People do not want to work with their hands, and parents don't want to send their kids to go work with their hands because it's considered to be dirty type labor.
Well,
11 million job openings in this country that require just a 6-month certification, whether it be auto mechanic, right, HVAC, plumber, so on and so forth. And it's not for everybody. But
no, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just like the large majority of people in America right now are just lazy. They're not going to be doing that after high school.
Well, we agree. So does college make you lazier or make you work harder?
Makes you work harder. I mean, I worked throughout college. I've worked.
You are the exception then.
I mean,
because employers are disagreeing. They say we've never seen such lazy, entitled, narcissistic college graduates. In fact, most employers say if you have a college degree, you're put in a different category. They prefer people out of high school, unless you want to go work for Bank of America in a soulless laptop job for the rest of your life, and go learn about how men can become pregnant at some HR department survey.
Or you use your analytical skills that you use in school to get a job that pays 6 figures.
You can develop analytical skills outside of college.
I think you're just.
I'm living proof of that.
I think you're just. I mean, I almost dropped out too, and
I'm not saying it wasn't the right choice for you, but more times than not, kids are deceived and lied, and they have tons of animosity because this school is unique. If you go to UCLA or if you go to UC Berkeley, you're not left with $30,000 in debt.
No,
you're left with $130,000 in debt, right?
No, if you do the 2-year community college.
Again, I preface this school's a little different, but appreciate the thought. Thanks, man.
All right, what's going on, man? First of all, just 2 points. Coming from someone in a situation like you, that you never went to college, but you became very successful.
Yeah. It, please, yeah.
Coming from someone in a situation like you, that you've never gone to college, but you're successful doing Turning Point USA. What do you recommend to someone who's in a situation where I don't know what I want to do in my life, but unfortunately I'm at school, spending a bunch of money because I'm stupid?
No, that's okay. So I want to be clear.
That person is me.
Can I interrupt? You guys can make college into a success. When we say college is a scam, that's us saying that they're charging you too much money and the value proposition is inverted. But don't use that as a victim and say, oh, I can't get any value out of it. Find the value, hold on to the value. But please continue.
What about, how do you become successful without college?
Okay, yeah, so first of all, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm sure you're good at something. What is your skill? If you had to say the thing I'm the best at.
I do love talking.
Okay.
I love dialogue.
Great.
I do love, I wouldn't say arguing, but I do like exchanging differences.
Great. So now you're in the you're already in the 1% of the country. 99% of people hate talking.
Fair.
In fact, the greatest fear in America is public speaking more than death.
True.
So now all of a sudden you're in like a whole different category, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, every single job on every single company on the planet needs somebody that's good at communicating. Everyone, right? So whatever it is that you do, try to gravitate towards the thing that you like and that you're good at, which is to explain. Right? Whatever that is in a company, because there's a lot of people that might be really good, like, I don't want to give the presentation, you know, and that, so you just kind of answer your own question. Here's the biggest thing. Be a lifelong learner. Don't stop learning just because you might not be in college. Are you freshman, sophomore?
I'm actually a senior.
Okay, get your degree. That's finish it. It's like, you know, you've already invested this much. Get your degree in whatever it is. It'd be stupid not to. If you were a freshman, we might have a different discussion, okay?
Right.
So finish that out. And then if it's useful to you, great. If it's not, then so be it. And then try to find things that is the intersection of your skill and your passion. That's where you're going to succeed the best in life.
Okay.
Every hero needs a sidekick, so that's why we're here for you. Be Creatives is a video editing agency.
May you find happiness and peace, and may your home stand the test of time.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to Charlie Kirk decimate socialist students. So without further ado, let's get started.
So I would agree with you that authoritarian socialist states like Cuba and Venezuela have been disasters. But if you look at the Scandinavian social democracies, they outperform the U.S. on all.
You don't want to go down this rabbit hole, my friend.
The myth of the Scandinavian socialism.
Yeah, they outperform the U.S. in GDP per capita, education outcomes, and life expectancy.
Still going down the path.
So let's
Here's
ask
Charlie
the question.
Kirk.
World Economic Freedom Index, which ranks each country by how much economic freedom there is. You do know that Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark rank higher than the United States. They have more economic freedom. That is not socialist. That is capitalist. In many ways, the Scandinavian countries are more capitalistic than we are. Where they're not is where where's universal health care, or they give out a bunch of stuff. I don't want to live in a country with a 70% tax rate, but as far as you rank the Economic Freedom Index, they're much higher. So you would support the deregulation of the economy, the repealing of Dodd-Frank, the lowering of small business taxes, the abolition of the FICA tax. You would support all these things, which are inherently anti-socialist, inherently anti-democrat. Would you support those things?
So my question was actually, I agree that there are a lot of capitalist elements, and I think that's good. My question is, are there aspects in the Scandinavian system that we could incorporate into the United States?
Yeah, school choice in Sweden, for example. They have full school choice in Sweden. We should have full school choice in America. And not to mention, let's take Norway, for example. Norway has $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. And how much does, Candace, how much do the Scandinavian states pay for military every year?
Oh, $0 because we pay for their military, and we should stop doing that. They're also homogeneous, so these are fundamentally 98% white countries, 5 million people, so it's about the size of New Jersey, and people are trying to compare it to a country with 330 million people, a country that's actually diverse and allows immigrants to come in. So you're comparing apples and oranges, and they just don't compare whatsoever.
I think I love that last part. You say you don't compare apple and orange, you know, they taste different, they feel different.
May you find happiness and peace, and may your home stand the test of time.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to Charlie Kirk, Rick Knight.
Hello.
My name is Mary. Today I'll be let's get started.
Hello. Sorry if I'm not as articulate as I could be. It's weird to see you guys in person. I am kind of interested in the wordplay, specifically Charlie, because I've seen the most of you online, but also Candace. I'm afraid I have nothing to like ask, but specifically Charlie. A lot of the wordplay you use, and a lot of the sources that you draw on, like the statistics, you're very good at just like ramping off statistics and throwing them into the person that you're arguing. I was wondering, where do you collect your sources, and do you make them easily accessible?
Of course. Would you like to name an example that I can cite for you now?
I don't question that the things that you're saying are factual. It's more how they are phrased and how they are put to us. So, for example, the thing that you've just said now about abortion, could you quickly remind me so I don't trip over my own
Sure,
words?
I'll do the first one. I say, a celebration of a pregnancy, why do we call that event a baby shower, not a fetus shower?
Right, so that in itself sounds like, oh, right, well, that means there's a cultural acceptance of the idea that it's a baby pre-birth. But that's just a linguistic, cultural way. So I call it, I'm pro-choice, for example, but I would still call it a baby shower. That doesn't mean I culturally accept the idea that it's a baby pre-birth. I'm just using a linguistic standard.
There's deeper meaning, though. Let's play this out. It's fun. So if the individual that has the baby shower decides right after the baby shower to have an abortion.
So here is one AI plugin that every musician needs to have in their studios. Would you believe me if I told you that it could play the bass for you in any genre that you choose?
What is that inside of her called?
I don't want to do this, if that's all right. I don't want to do abortion.
I know, but you see all of a sudden your argument
can I use a different example of abortion?
So if the individual that has the baby shower decides right after the baby shower to have an abortion, what is that inside of her called?
I don't want to do this, if that's all right. I don't want to do abortion.
I know, but you see all of a sudden your argument
can I use a
blows
different
up?
example of abortion is kicking up too much dust?
Say that again.
Can I use a different example
Sure,
of a fact?
that's fine,
Okay,
that's
so
fine, perfectly fine.
the first thing I saw with you in was your political debate with Hassan.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I saw of you. And you said, you'll probably still remember it, but it was that the worst 10 cities in America were run by Democrats.
Yeah, the poorest, most murderous. Yeah.
Right. So I looked it up because I wanted to read up on it, and there wasn't a source in the video mirror I'd seen. And that was correct. But it was also correct that of the top 10 cities, most of them were Democrat. And across the board, on average, most cities are Democrat. So the fact that you took it out of the entirety of the fact, which is that most cities are Democrat, the top best cities are Democrat, and the worst cities are Democrat, and you chose to only say that the worst cities are Democrat.
Top best cities are Democrat?
Well, so he means the most he means the wealthiest.
In the same way that, yeah. So the study that I found that mirrored your statistic said that.
So cities tend to be more, urban areas tend to be more to the left, just as they are. But when Republican mayors are actually allowed the chance to govern, the results are remarkable. And so let's juxtapose cities versus states, or even if you want to extrapolate what my argument was really talking about. In the laboratory of democracy theory, which we all believe in, which is when certain states are allowed to have juxtaposed policies, and contrast against each other, you see huge differences. So the most prosperous, most job-creating, most entrepreneurial states are ones with Republican governors and low tax, low regulation type policies.